Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick on today's show. Today's weirdly the busiest earnings day of the week. We've got a number of stocks reporting this morning: Canopy Growth, Workhorse, RCL, Marriott, and a few big names after the close today as well. So we'll talk about some earnings. Kodak in the news again, not for a good reason. Their loan is on hold from the government. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Foot Locker. They were so excited about the report. They couldn't help but give guidance this morning. It was really good guidance. So Foot Locker is up big, dragging Nike along with it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about our COVID stock of the day is Omeros, with their positive drug news out this morning. And our guest is Jeremy Newsome. He's from reallifetrading.com. He would join the show at 8:35. Before I throw it to Joel, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate any and all likes. And now, Joel, what's the word here in the overnight trading session?
Good morning, Spencer. Good morning, Dennis, and traders and investors around the world. We're up three handles here at 3347.75. A little dip overnight into the 33 handle. Pre-market low stands at 33.35. So there's one target for you on the downside. Pre-market high, we climbed into the 33.50 handle. The high so far is 33.55 and a half. And within 20, 30 points here of all-time high in the front month contract. We have crude in the green here by 61 cents at 41.83. Just kind of quiet, hanging out, trying to get that close over 42 and a look at 43. Gold, after a little bit of a retreat on Friday, that's back up $14.20 at $2,042. Silver, that's up nearly $1, 91 cents at 28.45. And Bitcoin lost the 12,000 handle, the high for today, 12,220, but it's still up 290, 11,865. Triple D, busy weekend for you. Let's bring you in and see how you're doing today.
Trying to figure out how to exit the minimized view. So I've got one computer problem here again. Always fun when you have computer problems. I'm trying to run everything on my trading computer, and it's not going that well. So it's tough Monday morning already, Joel. Computer problems Monday morning. Anyways, and then I have no cookies, for a lot of stuff, and I don't know what's going on, and something's happening with maybe there's just a lot of antivirus stuff going on there, but all my cookies got wiped out a week ago, and now they're all wiped out again. So I'm like, what are my passwords? What's my password for this? What's my password for that? I just figured them all out a week ago, and now I got to do the same thing again this morning. So I'm not sure why that is. Why is that, Spencer? Or YouTube chat? Why is it that they wipe out your cookies in the first place? And then secondly, why did they do it a week after they just did it?
Well, did you do a software update since then?
Maybe. Well, Windows, you're away. When the cat's away, the mice will play, and that's what Microsoft seems to do. I was actually so this is my cottage computer back at the cottage. I'm bouncing all around, and I was away from my cottage, and I come back, and I was like, okay, well, it looks like everything's been updated here again. So I guess when Windows updates, they say you don't need any cookies. They take all your cookies away. That's what happens. The cookie monster.
When you update, you lose all your logins. You got to re-sign into everything.
I should they say turn off auto updates, and maybe that's what I should do, because I am the worst at remembering passwords, and I have like 5 different software programs I run for trading, and I'm like trying to remember all the passwords. Like I don't remember any of the passwords, and I'm trying to look them up. I'm trying to find, and then I have to create new passwords because I can't remember any of them all. So I haven't been able to remember my Slack password in a week. That, so you've been having to email me. So anyway, so I got to get my Slack password figured out. It's a nightmare.
I just can I recommend? I use a password manager called 1Password. It's super simple. It's like $36 a year, and it's very secure. You only need one password, and it's basically a vault for your passwords.
What if they find out that password?
No,
These hackers.
Who's they?
The hackers.
Well, yeah. Well, then you're in
the
trouble.
people we're trying to protect ourselves against.
Well, then but don't let that happen. But anyway, I don't remember any of my passwords at all because I have one password to rule them all, and I just use that for my one pass, and
it's like Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. I have one password to rule them all. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the day.
Chat's all over this. LastPass.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So
LastPass is free.
So that's my rant. Hey, I didn't even do a trading rant. I did a cookie rant. Let's go.
Well,
806. No stocks.
Well, Dennis, if you think this is what I told Joel this morning, if you think U.S. markets can be irrational, what about what happened in Hong Kong here overnight? So this media tycoon Jimmy Lai was arrested for violating that new national security law that they imposed, right? The Chinese imposed on Hong Kong. His company's stock rose 344% in support of this guy. So this founder got arrested. I don't think he's the CEO, but he's the founder. And his company's stock rose 344% to support him. That is irrational.
That sounds bullish.
That sounds bullish.
That's what this market does. You got the news. You think it's going to be bad news? No, it's good news. We'll pull the rug out from under those people that think it's good news. Good news is bad news, and bad news is good news. Come on, Spencer. Get with the program.
Well, then in theory, I guess Kodak should be up this morning. If bad
shockingly
if bad news is good news, because Kodak came out this morning and said that, oh yeah, remember that loan we were talking about a few weeks ago? Yeah, that is on hold pending.
What in the actual? I'd like to swear here, Jason Raznick style, but come on, it's $9 now. Anybody who's buying this at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, I hope they got out. I hope nobody's got caught with this, because we had more warnings than ever. When the stock was 15, we were warning about it. We obviously didn't get the top, because I have no idea where this tops out, but don't get stuck with this. Because I said, what did I say? Within
6 months was
6 months. I give myself a lot of time. I said I'd be back under $5. All right, it's could be under $5 sooner. It's $9 here this morning. It's down 39%. It's just wildly been manipulated by this headline. Unbelievable trading to see the stock go from $2 to 60, and then back down a week and a half later to $9. The market is a joke, at least on pricing.
Yeah, for this.
Apps. It's a joke in this market, in this stock, anyways.
And
I don't know. Whatever. It's $9 now. Am I going to buy it at 9? No, I think it's going under 5. But still, is it going to bounce eventually? Who knows? I mean, you're trading the stuff. Story isn't over. Story is completely broken. So unless they come out with a headline, say we got the loan, and then it goes back to 60. I don't think if they get back the loan, or they get the loan back, it's going back to 60 though, because it was at 14 when they thought they had the loan.
No, yeah, there's just...
party over. You don't, when you're in a stock like Kodak, it's back 7 years of losses. Get the hell out.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'll just give you the pre-market. You dipped under $8 under this, and now you're kind of holding up at just over 9. But I don't even know if we can even do technical analysis on this stock, because it's
headline driven.
753. I don't know what the headlines are going to be. Yeah, pre-market low, 753 early this morning.
What about Mr. Jacoby? Is he still got his putts? Is he on? Is he out there, Spencer? Yell at him.
I gotta find out. I gotta yell for him and find out. Hold on,
Luke.
973.
The meatloaf. We want it now.
What movie is that from?
Wedding Crashers. Remember that? Mom, the meatloaf. We want it now. Luke.
Let's talk about this.
The puts. I want to know now.
I have confirmation. Luke sold his puts last week at 100% profit.
Nice.
All right. Good job.
There you go, Jacoby.
All right.
Nice. So, it would have been a little more than 100% profits today, but I always get out too soon too, so I won't complain about the 100% profit. Good job, Luke. Right. Better than me. I made 0 on it. I never made one trade on it. So,
and he just agreed with you. He's like, "Yep, it would have been 200% if I kept it." So,
well, in intrinsic value, it's probably. But anyways, all right. So we talked Kodak. We talked Foot Locker. Did we talk Foot Locker?
No, we didn't. And that's where I want to go next, actually.
Because teased it.
See, this is working out a little bit tricky, because you see like Foot Locker gives Q2 guidance. Well, everyone's got a bit of a different fiscal year, right? The fiscal years don't always align. So the Foot Locker's fiscal Q2 ended August 1st, right? So this is a June, July, August quarter for them.
What?
That's what the
August
movie
isn't even
says.
over. How the hell is it a June, July, August quarter?
This is
This is for the guidance. For
yeah.
June, July,
They
August.
pre-reported second quarter guidance. It ended August 1st,
Because the mall's open, so they're all excited.
Right. So their fiscal quarter ended August 1st,
All
and
right.
they pre-reported some earnings here. And they said that their Q2 adjusted EPS was going to be in a range of 66 to 70 cents. That the estimate for that was totally not comparable. They estimate was for a 60-cent loss, and they're saying that no, we didn't lose 60 cents. We made 60 cents last quarter per share.
How?
Same store sales increased 18% in the quarter. That's what they're saying.
Weren't the stores closed?
They're reopening, I guess.
Oh, but this is for guidance, right? So they're saying
This is a pre-report, right? So they were so excited.
18% from the previous quarter, 18% year over year. Because if it's 18% up from the previous quarter, that's still going to suck.
No, it comps is always year over year on this.
Year over year.
Otherwise stated. So
everybody was sitting back, waiting to buy shoes, Joel. And now that we can officially go out to the stores, they are now buying the shoes that they were waiting to buy. Does this make sense?
Yeah, so much for my
yeah, you had a theory that nobody was going to walk anymore.
Yeah, that everyone's staying in their house and they don't need shoes. Throw
not
that
wearing
one out the
shoes.
door. Well, let's do a quick technical on this one, and you are kind of returning to the scene of the crime here. You did get up near $36. That was your June high. In fact, you just perfect. 35.33 is where you got to on June 8th. Wow, what a day. June 8th. That day that's when American Airlines, that was a big day. Well, anyways, it revisited that this morning. And how close did it get? It got to 35.59. So we've leaked $3 off that. I think your high's in for right now. I don't know.
So too.
Right now, $35 we just hit. So still up $5. I just think you're going to have to pick an intermediate level ahead of that pre-market high. Or good move though. Hold it $32 on the downside. I know that sounds lofty, but that's where your pre-market support comes in. $32.
So bring up your monthly. Bring up the monthly. Or you can see it in the bottom right corner. Bottom right corner is your monthly. It's looking at the last 5 years. That looks like a downtrend to me. What do we do on stocks and downtrends when they pop 20%? We sell them. That is what we do. So overall stock in a downtrend. Story is still hurting. It's been hurting for a long time. Mall-based retailers, yes, they sell shoes. Yes, people still need shoes. Yes, maybe the quarter was okay, but I don't think this is a turnaround story here. I would be a seller. Just my opinion.
So Foot Locker reports on August 21st before the open. So they were so excited. They were like, no, we're going to pre-report this morning. We're going to tell you how great a quarter we had in the last 3 months. So
good job, Foot Locker. Good job, Bulls.
And as Joel noted on the pre-market show, if you look at Nike here, up this morning.
If I'm buying a shoe, if I'm buying a Shoemaker, and obviously Nike does a lot of other things, it's Nike. So the Nike chart looks way better. If you go to the monthlies, you can clearly see the opposite. Nike's been going straight up for the last 5-7 years, stock in a clear uptrend. Now, again, this is rallying, so we buy pullbacks, not rallies on stocks that are in uptrends, but it looks good. I mean, Nike, I wouldn't be surprised Nike breaks out here. So eventually, 104 is where your major technical resistance was back early June. You get up over 105 off to the races. What's the all-time high on this puppy? This isn't far off. Wow. Striking distance of all-time highs. Could hit it today. I don't think it's going to.
105.62 is your all-time high. That was made in January. It just got a bump to 104.50. Now you pulled off a buck, but I would just be aware of, all these highs that you had at 104. I think you'd have to use that as some shorter term resistance. Of course, there's a pre-market high. Big move for Nike off this news, but I just see all these highs around 104.
Some resistance.
Yeah, there is some resistance there.
I think eventually it makes new all-time highs here, and sooner than later. So I like Nike. I'd buy a pullback on Nike, not buying the rally though.
All right, and in Boot Barn.
Well, you're probably getting some other sympathy moves here, I'd imagine, with some of the smaller shoemakers as well.
What are the other?
I mean, there's like Under Armour. It's not trading. There's Adidas. It's over the counter. So Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like it used to be. I think of Nike. I just go straight to Nike. When I see Foot Locker, I go straight to Nike.
SKX, Skechers.
Oh, good old, yeah. We have house sketches.
Is the Reverend still short that? Remember, he was like, the shoes hurt your feet. I'm short the stock.
Dennis, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering if he's still. He's long term. He's like longer term than Warren Buffett, the Reverend. So he might still be in there. He gets convicted and he holds forever. I bet he's still short. He says the shoes still hurt my feet. I'm still short the stock. Anyway, it hasn't really. It went down a couple times. Went there. He's not down in it. I bet you if he's still. He's probably still up a little bit, but. Anyways, okay, so Shoemaker is a little bit hot this morning, but you're not seeing much sympathy move. Nike up a little bit there. So Foot Locker is your leader, and your leader has faded. Next.
All right, let's just do like the couple more non-earnings headlines, and then we'll just bang through some earnings. But
all right.
I want to look at this. The COVID stock of the day is Omeros.
Oh, great.
They came out this morning and said that they had a drug and a study for a study that they did in COVID patients. They reported the recovery and survival of all the patients in the study. It evaluated treatment on COVID-19 associated acute respiratory distress syndrome. And
were there how many patients were in this study? Was it like 6?
Their drug seems to have worked according to them.
Well, that's good news and everything, but I want to know how many patients were in the study. Because remember, what was the stock that popped up and had like 6 patients in the study?
Wait, how did you know that, Dennis?
Was it 6 only? Was there only 6 patients in the study?
That's from the release. All 6 patients.
I knew it. These smaller companies, it's ridiculous. Oh, 100% survival rate. We in the footnotes we had 6 patients. So 6 out of 6.
I think one of the Gilead studies was not on a lot of patients too.
Yeah, that might have been. I mean, sometimes these aren't on a lot of patients. There's probably not a lot of people who want to sign up for this. Let's be honest as well. So, but in any regard here, it's good news. You know what's sold to you? I don't know. Not interested.
Sold
and Joel, bring up the weekly chart. There's a lot of resistance up here at 20, right where it's trading here right now.
Yeah, someone got really excited in this one. I don't
know.
The algos.
Those algos. Yeah, they start drinking that what is that maple syrup and they get all antsy in their pantsy. Where's that one from?
Spencer, help me out here.
Spencer.
I don't know what you.
They start drinking all that maple syrup. They get all antsy in their pantsy. That's those algos. Somebody knows. Chad, help me out. You guys know where this one's from.
Adam Sandler? I don't know.
No, it's not Adam Sandler.
That sounds like Adam Sandler, but I don't know. I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Oh, Chad should be all over this one.
25.40.
Well, somebody will come up with it. I'm leaving it out there. I'm letting that one float.
25.
Mike got it.
Oh, Elf?
WP Saves got it.
Elf?
Ian got it.
Is that it? Is it Elf?
Super Troopers.
Okay.
Awesome movie. Remember the police officers? They're all in the cafeteria and they're chugging maple syrup.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yes, I don't know about you.
They're chugging maple syrup. That was awesome. Okay. Anyway.
25.49. 25.49 is where this got to. I don't see that. I don't see that happening maybe ever again in this stock. Pulling back, holding 20. Now 20 was resistance. Dennis mentioned on the monthlies here. So up $6, but $6 off the high. So you'll see if you get some more profit takers under 20.
I think story's over already. Story's over before it started. It's a nice pop gift. This is, in my opinion, this is a gift. 6 people study. They're driven up there because, oh my goodness, we got a positive headline code, better buy the hell out of the stock. So whoever bought the stock on the initial spike, already underwater. Whoever bought basically the stock in the last hour, already underwater. People are already underwater in this. I think it continues to leak. That's just my opinion. I'm not a buyer. I'm in an angry mood here today because I'm not buying anything. Find me something I want to buy. I guess Nike. I like Nike.
You want to buy that?
Find me something I want to buy, Spencer. Find me a stock that I want to buy. And you know I don't chase. So
all right, okay. So SeaWorld, their revenue.
Oh my it goes to SeaWorld. I don't have to look at the chart. I'm not buying that stock.
Listen, the revenue went
down. Sold to you.
Wait, listen. The revenue went down 95% year over year.
That sounds bullish.
It can't get much worse. How much?
I'm shocked it's not up.
How much worse can it get? Not much. That's my argument.
Just if Shamu bites another trainer.
No, so SeaWorld, RCL, and Marriott all reported earnings here this morning, and I mean they're all bad as you'd expect. I'll just do RCL first. They lost $6.13 per share last
Impressive.
quarter. Revenue $175 million. A year ago they made $2.8 billion. So obviously it's ugly for Royal Caribbean. Marriott, same story. SeaWorld, same story. It's ugly across the board, as you knew it would be.
I don't know. I'm not interested in owning SeaWorld. I am interested in the cruise lines if we get that vaccine. So cruise lines have still been on. I don't want to own them right yet, but eventually there's going to be a trade here in the cruise lines because you know what? People still like cruises. And if you look at RCL, and here's the difference between RCL and SeaWorld. Before COVID, RCL was in an uptrend. 2014, $40. 2016, $80. 2019, $220. SeaWorld, not in an uptrend. It was in a downtrend because $35 back in 2014. Yeah, I know I had the big run in 2018 and 2019 where everybody thought Shamu was back, but I'm not a fan of SeaWorld. Is this like can it get any worse? Is this as bad as it gets? It probably is. People, eventually I'd take my kid to SeaWorld, but I'm not gonna buy the stock. So anyways, no SeaWorld for me.
$3 run ahead of the report from 14 to 17 on Friday. Boy, giving it back right now this morning. You did trade under 16 momentarily. Where did you go to? You went to 1585.
I don't think it gets killed today.
Yeah,
I don't think it gets killed, and it would not surprise me if it does bounce. Just watch it for a trade because I'm sure there's some shorts in here. This was this was a everything bad quarter. Let's get it all out there. And the stock's holding up okay. So I think the worst is maybe in the short term, maybe behind SeaWorld, but in the long term, I'm still not a fan. So short term, I could get talked into a trade. I'm going to take it back. I could get talked into a trade if this thing was to go green.
I knew it.
Only if it goes green. So you know what, Spencer? You actually did pick one. It'd have to go green. It would have to get above $17 and then start showing. Then you could get a little squeeze on. Because I bet you there's some people who are short SeaWorld. So this is just purely, looking at the effects of, the who's got what, how crowded is the trade. And if you look at SeaWorld, you have the short interest. I'll quickly go take a look at what I got.
Here. Let me see what
you just know it's going to be substantial.
I'm seeing 12.5%.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, I see the same thing. It's not even that much. We'll squeeze the 12%.
Okay.
We'll see. So anyway, not buying at 1630, but saying if it turns around in after 930 and starts to show life, maybe this could squeeze them a little bit. But it's hard to just come in here and buy, stocks when their revenues are dropping 95%.
$14 is where I'd be interested in this one.
That's support. And I don't think it's getting to 14. How
low
does it get?
No. Yeah. Maybe halfway in this move, 15.5, you dipped under 16, but yeah, kind of no man trading range too. Since the beginning of July, 14 to 17, you're still kind of in the upper part of that trading range. And then RCL, I mean, it's down but not out. You got major support in this thing.
Yeah,
$5-6
support
away, but 40. If you're leaning on 45 here for a swing trade, you're risking $6. Did get over 75 in June, but just quiet. You see where that major support is, though.
Eventually, we're going to get a vaccine. Eventually, people are going to go back on cruises. Just the timing of this is critical. So, and obviously, the longer it takes, the more cash they're burning. And the worse, the company's going to, and obviously dilution could be an issue then as well. So there's all those obviously issues. Cruise lines, airlines, Boeing, throw it all in the same camp. Needs a vaccine. Vaccine's coming. So I'm not opposed to the reopening trade completely here.
What were people thinking in these stocks? Marriott rallied into the report too. You just think a little short.
They think the worst is over. This is reopening. Look at that Marriott chart. It's been a reopening trade here. We've been talking about it for the last few days. It's been working. The reopening trade has started to show life here again. I mean, LUV, you can look at that, $30 to 33, 10% rally last week. The reopening trade has started to work. I'm somewhat interested in some of these reopening stocks, as trades, because they're starting to, we get news on a vaccine every day. People aren't scared of the virus anymore. I mean, I go out there and there's not even really anybody talking about it. I mean, I used to look at, how many cases? I don't even look at that. I mean, and people aren't scared. And that's going to start to, people are going to start going out and doing more stuff too. So Can we learn to live with COVID, like Muhammad Al-Arian was saying on CNBC this morning? Maybe we can. Maybe we can. Maybe people are going to go about, wear some masks and do some stuff, but I don't think it's going back to business as usual, but business is starting to come back. So some of these reopening stocks are interesting.
Marriott down $1 here, 92.78. That's also been in a trading range, 80 to 95. Hit the top of that trading range on Friday. Kind of in no man's land here, but you see if anybody got jammed in that rally last week, be looking to cover. So kind of the same scenario there in Marriott as you have in RCL. And what was the other one that we threw in there? SeaWorld.
I just want to mention in the chat, all you dropping tickers in there, I see you. I'm writing your tickers down. We will cover tickers at the end of the show after Jeremy Newsome and after we get through a couple more earnings. What about Barrick Gold here, Dennis? They report earnings this morning. They're in an uptrend, and they beat on their EPS and their sales.
It's all that matters. When you're trading gold stocks, earnings are usually meaningless. It's just the price of gold overall that matters. It'll give you a little push one way or another on earnings day, but for the most part, they're just following the price of gold. So you bring up GLD, you bring up GOLD, you can clearly see it trends this with gold. So gold's flat here this morning. I mean, but you think about where we've been in silver, holy mackerel, and obviously unbelievable move here. It's just like, is it sustainable? I mean, gold hasn't run nearly what silver has, but silver talking about moving up 30% in 3 weeks. I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest moves in silver in decades. I mean, this is, looking back to like when it went parabolic to 47. I mean, It's unbelievable, the silver move in the charts, like looking even the monthly, like look in the bottom right corner. It's completely out of the ordinary. Now I have people that are thinking, well, it was way overdone at 22. I'm going to short it.
I know.
And it's a 28. And they're like, well, I don't know what to do. You know what? You're on the wrong side of the trade. So, and stocks can go up for a long time, and so can commodities. And it's tough. When you're seeing these breakouts, and breakouts are starting to work here again, it's tough to be short.
Yeah, especially silver. It was a laggard for quite a time, but been playing a little bit of catch up here. We did almost get with that magical $30 level. Got to 29.91 and a half. That was on Friday. That's actually where it got to. Looking at the Barrick chart. Down, we're trading up 60 cents here. I got OLD. What am I doing there? GOLD. Oh boy. Let's see if we get a look at 30 today.
Big number.
That's a big number. You snuck through it for one day only, but you had a high just above 30 earlier in July, and then back up above it on Friday. So little resistance there, trading up 63 cents. You really want to see some follow through into the 30 handle on Barrick Gold.
All right, 8:30, got about 5 minutes before our guest, Jeremy Newsome. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate that very much. We'll do a couple more tickers until Jeremy. Let's do Canopy Growth here, CGC. I have not looked too deeply into the report, but I do see that their Q1 EPS, they lost 30 cents per share. That's better than the year ago number of 54 cents per share lost, and their net revenues increased 22% year over year.
You know what the problem here is? You have a lot of people caught from the last 3 days. That's what the problem is on the technical. So you got that hard 3 day sell off into the earnings report. It was coming to support at 16. Now you get, the counter rally in what, is clear downtrend from last week. I think you got some people caught. I think you're gonna have some sellers emerge in this 18 area. So even though the quarter was okay, this was old resistance, and it broke out from there just about a week and a half ago. And now it's back down through it, and then it comes back up to it. I'd more be a seller of this at 18 than a buyer.
Wow. Yeah, boy, you got a lot of shots at this, and above $19. This is the 29th, really the 28th through the 6th. You had multiple highs between 1920 and 1960, and then you had the bad couple days here. So I'm trying to pick an intermediate level here in the 18 handle. I guess just look follow through the pre-market high. That's just under 18.20. That comes in at 18.17, 14 cents away. I think you'd have to be more of a scale out on this one, because your bases on the dailies, I don't know, getting back up into the 19 handle. 2 day highs 19.11. So got to rally another buck from there. I certainly don't want to see a fade on this one. If you can't, if you're struggling the 18 handle and then start to turn around back to go back down. Yesterday's close, Friday's closing low, right next to each other, 1659, 1663. But this is a tough one. This is a tough one based on that price action, the run up, and then the big drop on Friday.
People keep waiting for the pot story to get hot again, and it gets hot for a few days, and what happens? New sellers emerge. Why? Because everybody's caught long these things. Everybody's been caught long for 2 years, clear downtrend CGC for 2 years. And, the story was hot, cold, hot, kind of hot again. Cold. Is the story just cool, or is the story broken? I lean towards more that the story is broken now. So when stories are cool, it's okay because the story might get hot again. Like the workhorse story is cool, but we don't know, like, if it's broken. In the whole sector, there's just so much competition, so much supply. And let's be honest, this isn't a technology company. These pot stocks are greenhouses full of plants. So the story, with valuations that are nosebleed.
Some of them,
the story. Okay, give it the defense. Give the defense.
Well, not every quote unquote pot stock grows cannabis, right? So there's ancillary plays. There's
Canopy Growth sounds like it grows pot. Growth sounds like it grows pot plants.
Yeah, but there's other products out there. There's beverages. There's edibles, right? They don't all grow the plant, and so to paint every pot stock under that one umbrella is a bit disingenuous. Because
as a trader, I paint. And I paint with my opinion. If you like it or you don't like it, I mean, some of these are well-run companies. Afria has changed management, well-run company, nosebleed valuation, and not a technology company. And we know what is really hot going forward. It's always tech, tech, tech. You're not going to get these crazy, the valuations they're trading at are coming in for a reason, is that the growth isn't there now. So the growth guys are out and the value guys are like, no, it's still too expensive. So I just don't see the catalyst to make this story go hot again. So that's why I don't want to own them. So I'm not saying every company is just the same thing. I'm not trying to paint them all, but the majority of this is growing. The majority of these pot stocks, their business is growing marijuana. And it's, I don't see where that story gets hot, like to start taking these to extreme valuations again. It's not like cloud computing and we're all going to the cloud. I mean, the people who smoke marijuana or do it, they're there, but I don't see this trend where everybody's going to start. And then it's competition, and the Canadian growers had it good for a long time. Now the competition's coming from the US. It's coming from everywhere. So I just think every rally on these things is to be sold. That's just my opinion.
You see the GWPH on Friday, Dennis?
GWPH is a different company. So
did you see what happened to
they get beat up.
That's a different company.
Well, it is. It's pharmaceutical. Yeah, but that's been. But still, okay. I can say the same thing. I'm not a buyer of this one either, Spencer. But,
yeah, did you see that?
The GWPH, obviously, they got the Epidiolex. It's a different company in my opinion.
All right. Well,
it's a pharmaceutical, like where they're actually, making, and obviously some of these are selling the marijuana, but they're a biotech company, GWPH. So right, I see them as different than Canopy Growth.
That's the other half of the equation. I would just say that I own 4 multi-state operator stocks, and they're all up big over the past few months.
Those are the U.S. ones, right?
Yeah. We're talking. Yeah.
So yeah, Canopy is Canadian, and what I've been saying is I wouldn't own the Canadian. I'm not talking the U.S. growers.
Okay.
Because some of those weren't trading at ridiculous valuations, but these Canadian ones were trading at nosebleed valuations because there was no competition. Like, I mean, just look at it. There was 27 licenses for a long time in all of Canada. Now there's thousands of licenses throughout Canada. So you have all independents competing with them. Now the U.S. is legalizing, and they're growing everywhere. So the competition is just so intense that the good times that the Canopy Growth and the Afria had and the Aurora Cannabis, those good times are over.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's why I don't want to own the Canadian growers. Sorry, I'm Canadian. And, a lot of people don't want to hear that because there's a lot of obviously people who are caught long these things. They want to think that eventually Canopy Growth is going back to 70. Afria is eventually going back to 22. I don't think it's happening. Yeah. I think they continue to leak and continue to go down. Because I think the story for them is broken. I think it is.
Jeremy Newsome is nodding his head. Let's bring him on here. He's CEO of reallifetrading.com.
I'm being mean today, Jeremy.
I think he agreed. I'm not quite sure. Nodding his head. Jeremy, good morning.
What's going on, man? Pot socks look like Dennis's hair. They're all over the place. So it's,
I gotta get a haircut like you. I need a haircut, but it's COVID times, so I don't know what. My wife cut it once, and she did it. She actually, when she cuts my hair, she goes, "Oops." So I'm like scared to have her cut my hair now. When you cut somebody's hair, don't say "oops."
Never say "oops." It's
no, the hairdresser can't say "oops." Oops, I got to keep going now.
Come on, gentlemen.
What do you think?
I miss you guys so much.
Jeremy, we love you, but let's go into this pot stock conversation because there's a lot of people who have been in CGC and Afria, and obviously the competition's so intense now. It's coming from everywhere. I mean, I look at the MJ ETF, which is full of a lot of those Canadian pot companies, from $36 down to $12. What are your thoughts here? Would you be a buyer on this? I want your thoughts. I want a different perspective.
Yeah, I can't really give one right now. Pot stocks had their hype, and it was too easy to make money on it. I never made any money on it because I didn't understand why they were going higher. So, yeah, I'm out of the 420 plays exclusively. I have no positions in anything that has to do with marijuana.
Why buy stocks in downtrends when we can buy stocks in uptrends, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's just easier.
Yep. It is easier. Yeah. It took me a long time to figure that out.
Me too. It took me like 11 years, but I finally got
buy low, sell high. Well, why am I buying high and selling higher? You know why? Because buy high, sell higher is easier.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you like right now? Jump in. What do you like?
Okay, here it goes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this gap on Pinterest fills, gentlemen. I don't.
Ooh.
I think it's toast from here.
Pinterest.
That earnings gap, man, this is a social media play. This is what I've been pumping for a while. But I don't think this Pinterest gap fills, gentlemen, on the daily chart. I think this is going to be a Facebook, TTW. What was that? Twilio, TWLO, Facebook, Pinterest. Just those gaps from way, way, way back in the day that just never, ever filled. We just go bananas from there. I think this is one of those, man. Look at that daily chart. Oh my goodness.
And a lot of people are upset with themselves, and I am too. Multiple times when it was under $20, I wanted to buy it. I actually did buy it once, and then I sold it because I got talked myself out of it. But you just think about it, like it made sense that they were going to have a really good quarter, because what are people doing?
Exactly.
They're sitting in their home, not doing anything. They're looking, I'm dreaming about what my home's going to look like. My wife's sitting there looking at the Pinterest and, throwing and obviously looking through, scrolling through, pinning this, pinning that. I mean, it was time where you had time and you were looking at things and you're looking online.
Well, Joel told me about this a few months ago. Joel said Overstock and Wayfair are going to go higher because people are sitting around their house and just ordering things. And I was like, okay, well, they're going to get the idea off of Pinterest. Pinterest is a social media play.
Sure.
It's a data play, man. I mean, from a marketer standpoint, it's a dream, because you get to look at all the people who are collecting things they actually want, and they're giving them to you. They're saying, here's everything I want. And from a marketer, you go, yes, please. And you just press send and you just market whatever you're trying to sell, bracelets or hair pieces, to that person because they have a board made of it. So, yeah.
It's a smart business model. And there's a lot of people, like, I don't go on Pinterest, but there's a lot of people that do. And
well, the people that are going on it are predominantly the ladies, and the ladies are growing in leaps and bounds as far as what they can do and what they're doing, and the monetary value of just the lists of all the people that are getting on. I think it's 75% female, which is phenomenal, because that's a market that a lot of marketers want. And they need. And
they buy stuff. I'm cheap.
They're the main purchaser.
My wife is the buyer in the relationship. Correct. There's no doubt. She loves on. She sees this. It's like, oh, I want to buy that.
Yeah. So I'm a pretty big fan of Pinterest right now. Long term, I did get triggered into a lot of positions on Friday, so I'm excited to see it up a little bit.
I could get talked into this one.
Yeah,
even
Twitter,
chasing it a bit. I mean, you're not chasing at this point. You're kind of consolidation station for 5 days.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop yourself out at the low of the move, the 31. I mean, 36 this morning. It's up $1.50. I didn't notice that this morning. So continues. Would have rather bought it.
You got a nice double top there that you clear that and things definitely open up. The follow through on the earnings day took you to 37.33. You went to 37.25 on Friday. So right there, that is also the old time high in this one. So little consolidation. After the gap fill. Jeremy, I want to ask you about a stock, and maybe we'll do a little setup here. Me, you, and Dennis, and
bring it in.
All right, and I'm kind of surprised that Estee Lauder is not trading up here. We got some positive ink in Barron's, and boy, oh boy, I thought this would be gapping up. Is it, Dennis? What's can you give me the pre-market bid and
You know
offer
what
in
I'm
this
going to
one?
say is Barron's. We used to do a segment years ago and was Monday morning and was like, what was in Barron's? And Barron's would move stocks.
The Barron's bounce.
There is so much competition for Barron's now that it doesn't move stocks like it used to. It used to be like you got featured in Barron's, your stock's going up 5% on Monday morning. It used to be like that. But there's just so much online opinions about stocks now that it gets lost. It just gets lost in the clutter. And I think the Barron's moves just don't happen like they used to. Yeah, you get a little bit of love, but you don't see the 5% moves anymore. And this is a great example, Joel. Positive ink in Barron's, and it's been slightly,
I will say that's mostly true, but and it wasn't on the cover though. But when you're on the cover, like they had something about the elections one there. This was just kind of this was a little small article here in this one, but all right, well, we won't talk about it then.
Oh, we can't. No. We talk technicals. We brought it up.
Whatever.
Here's the thing. I think the two things that have the best margin in all of business, software and perfume. So Estee Lauder, I mean, they make a lot. They create a lot. They have a lot of brands. Long term, I mean, there's no way you're short this thing. So it's just slowly leaking higher. It's the exact opposite of all the pot stocks.
Yeah, you're right. It still looks pretty good. And you know what? It looks like you're in consolidation station here too, bumping up against this 200. It looks like it's ready. It could potentially break out.
Yeah.
So I don't mind this chart either. Me and
I do have
Jeremy are alike. We like the stocks and uptrends.
4 stocks I'm watching that are down pretty hard that look really, really interesting. I know you guys know this one, but Fastly. So FSLY, bottom line, they make websites faster. That's what they do.
It's good business.
I love that they're down a lot. So they just ran too far too fast. You're consolidating around, you're down around 30% right now. I think it can go a little bit lower, maybe low 70s, high 60s, but I'm going to be looking to tiptoe into that one with some longer term calls and some shares and some put sales because I do like Fastly.
So set it up. If it goes down to 75, what would you do from the options side of it? Because I usually just buy the stocks, but I love bringing you on because you got the options perspective of it. Set it up. How would you do it?
I would sell the 65 September week 2 put. So that would just be one strike. So I'd only want to be long 100 shares at 65, and then I would buy 2 $90 call options, probably as far out as I could go, because I really liked some time on my option because this one's going to consolidate for a bit. It's not going to I don't think personally it's just going to bounce right out of where it came from. I think it's going to hang out. People are going to be a little scared because a lot of the people that trade this one were newer Robinhood traders because, this was up 800% since March. So all the Robinhooders are on 100 and higher, and they're going to be all freaking out. So it's going to be 2 or 3 months, I think, before she starts catching some love. So I want to sell some volatility and also buy some leaps out of the money is what I'm looking for on Fastly.
Yeah, that did have that dip before earnings, and then they ran it up, right?
Yep.
And then this is a real interesting area. I was looking
at
this
that breakout, Joel.
Yeah, oh boy, under $80 here, and just have all these lows in this area. It is trading up today, but I do see
think
that
it cuts through those lows just to shake out people who might stop themselves out there, like me. I'd stop my bake.
Yes.
See, Jeremy loves this, like cut through and then come back, where you shake everybody out. Like that's one of your plays, right?
That's my play, D man. That is my play. Break through 70, get to 69. I'm in on this one.
I've watched some of these Jeremy Newsome webinars. I'm starting to get a feel for this guy. And you know what? This guy's got some strategy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So Fastly's one. Next, AYX. So AYX, I think they did well on earnings, Dennis. What do you think, man? They lowered guidance, but I think
we talked about it and we said this is a funny thing. Like this earnings report was okay, but it's just one of those where it had run a long ways too, and a lot of good news is baked in, and then they slammed it. So
I just love this monthly chart. So I'm a huge fan. So this one's going to chop around for a week or two, maybe 3. But I'm calling this gap to fill by the end of the year. That's my thoughts, man. This is
really.
Yeah.
So are you already in this, or are you just still waiting to strike?
I am in it. So I bought some shares at the 200 simple moving average, which was 124 and some change.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy probably a few shares every week. So I know for sure I'm not going to call the bottom on this one, but I'm going to sell a put here and there. I'm going to buy small size, like 30, 40 shares every week or something. Let it just kind of bounce around and do its thing. But I do plan on this gap to fill on AYX. I just love that monthly trend.
Oh, it's straight up.
I mean, this is a pullback for a lot of people who want a good growth name tech company that's new.
Yeah.
This is a big pullback.
Yeah. And you know what? That works. I mean, I look at some of the stocks that I've put in my longer term portfolio, and it's been after disappointing earnings. Some of them have come back down, but I was like buying Cyberg, Target. It was in a tech stock, but when Target got hit back down to that 100 back at the end of April, I was like, okay, time to strike. I didn't take any heat on that. I almost bought the bottom. What I do is I sold. I thought 120 was topping out, and I sold it too soon. But I mean, pullbacks on good companies is always, it's what we talked about. Buying the dip on good companies has worked for a long, long time.
It has. So I'm gonna kind of keep playing that one. Speaking of good
companies,
companies,
AYX down. I'm waiting it because Jeremy likes it. I like it too.
Here's one of the originals, the original blue chip, the Joel Elconin maker, the money maker, man, Intel.
Going in.
I said 45. Did it ever get there? Hasn't got there yet.
Not yet, but it's coming. I think
are you gonna buy some?
Yep. Yes, sir. You know it.
45? What price?
I'm gonna pick up some at every dollar along the way.
Okay. Have you started buying 40, yet?
I might call my mom. I liquidate some positions. We got to buy some more.
Have you started buying it yet?
I have. Yep. So I got some at $47.99. I got some at 48. Just right around these whole dollar marks because it's
huge
easy.
Support in here.
What's that?
There's huge support in here.
Yeah,
like 44,
I think so.
45.
I think so.
I mean, it is a chip maker. Is AMD eating their lunch? Well, maybe for a bit, but can Intel come back?
Exactly,
they can.
For a bit, but not for it's Intel. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Intel inside.
Look at this gap down. I mean, don't be ridiculous. Like money flow is going to pile into this one. They're going to look for some nice movement.
I should rebuy, and I've talked about the 45 rebuying it. I've also talked about buying AMD because I think AMD is going to 100, and I have not bought that. And I'm kicking myself because it was $76 when I said that. And now it's 85, and I was like, why did I not buy AMD again? Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah. But AMD, I think, is going to $100. I think Intel story will turn.
Absolutely.
I do think Intel story is going to turn here eventually. I do think it's going to 45, and that's where I've been sitting. But can you go wrong buying a 48? And if you got a long-term time horizon, I don't think so. I think you'd be okay.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm in agreement with you on that one.
Yeah, there's some good tech stocks on dips right now.
Joel's favorite stock in the world. Here we go. Datadog, DDOG.
Oh, the dog.
Joel. He loves betting on dogs. I know that. So Datadog.
The dog.
This one was
ponies are better.
I know.
He's a pony
better. But you'll bet on anything.
Don't bet on like what you ate for breakfast, Jeremy. Joel's a gambler, man.
I love it.
You go with them, and he'll be looking at go to a Tiger game. And he's sitting there saying he's looking at the averages, and it's early in the season. He's like, "How much is that average?"
We did that one time.
You do it all the time.
We did that one time. Hey, just really off subject. Did you guys see the Travers Stakes over the weekend at all? That's it's a Tis the Law, the horse that won the Derby. Just blew him away. Could be like the next super horse. But that, if you get a chance, watch that race. But
okay.
I got another one. I got a sleeper though. There was a horse, a filly raced earlier, named Gamine, and she might, man, it could be a good long shot in the Preakness, but that's a ways away. We'll have to follow that.
Joel loves horses.
Just overall market thoughts here, Jeremy. I mean,
okay,
we're almost back up at all-time highs here. Everyone just waiting for correction from the move. We're not going to get it. Just overall market thoughts here from you.
Overall market thoughts. I don't think this is going to happen, so I will go ahead and just let people know this is most likely not going to occur. But if the SPY hits 350 before September 1st, I'm going in 100% cash on long-term stuff.
Really?
That's going to sell because it's it's gonna be too high for me. It's gonna be too far, and then I'll look to get into a pullback at 340 or 333 or something. I'm just
You're
I'm just
nervous
gonna sell there,
on
man.
why are you a little bit nervous
Well,
overall?
because with the elections coming up, I personally think, again, this is just my personal opinion. I think Trump's going to get reelected in a landslide. I don't think it's going to be close. He's going to talk all about how high the market is, and all the people are going to pile in, right? Then you get that nice little 5 to 10 to 12% correction, and I can just kind of go back in cash. We rally off the previous old resistance of the previous all-time highs as new support, and we're just back into the races November to May, strong as can be. So that's my general thoughts.
So you're looking for a dip potential off the no
why
Trump bump here.
350? Is that Fibonacci extension or just a
just
number?
Like it's a nice clean number. It's the highest it's ever been by, I mean, a good 10 points. A nice easy round number. I'd feel comfortable about selling there. So yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see. So anything that's positive in my portfolio, I'm just going to be, that's where
are you sitting on your portfolio right now? You got some cash?
I do. Yep. I do have some cash. So I'm 33% in cash right now.
Okay. So you're sitting on some cash too.
Yeah. So that's why I'm starting to kind of dip into some of these tech plays that are pulling back. But really, I mean, we're just so strong. I'm just doing a lot of day trades, option sales. I'm playing some options. I'm just trying to be aggressive with the strength, man, because it's insane how strong we are. But I think this is 1987 all over again. I think we're going to have another few years of just nice, strong bullishness from here after we get some type of 5 to 10% pullback again. I mean, we just got a 7% in early June.
The market's been so resilient in the face of a pandemic, in the face of so much negative news. I mean, I try to think of what's going to bring us down. People aren't nervous about the virus unless some major names start, getting sick from this, which has not occurred. I don't see why people get spooked on it again, at least the market. So I think you're right. I think the election is going to be the focus going forward here. I personally think Trump's going to get reelected too. Obviously that the polls aren't showing that, but they didn't show it with Hillary either. I do believe there's a lot of people who will vote for Trump that aren't saying they would vote for Trump too. So I don't know. Obviously I'm Canadian. I don't have a vote. It's going to be interesting though. I don't think it's Biden by, what they're saying right now, Biden in the lead. I don't think I think that's going to, I think that gap's going to fill.
Yeah. I think so. Again, we'll see. That's again just personally my plan, because it's easier. I forget the exact statistic, but I think if the market is up coming into the election, the incumbent wins 87% of the time, I think is the statistic. So if it's up more than 5% on the year, so I think that's, as of right now, man, it just seems it's easier to keep it than change. And again, we'll see if that happens. I don't know.
All right, Jeremy, we're going to let you go. Jeremy Newsome is the CEO of reallifetrading.com. Jeremy, as always, we appreciate the insight, appreciate the time. And
my pleasure, guys.
Have a good one.
Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you soon, Jeremy.
Let's bang out some tickers from the chat here. I saw somebody mention Simon Property Group, SPG. They report earnings after the close today. There was also a report over the weekend or this morning it was last night, from the Journal, saying that Simon Property has been exploring the possibility of turning their malls into Amazon fulfillment centers. And so that's why that's the catalyst for the stock this morning.
Wow.
And they also report earnings later today.
Boy, oh boy, if you're talking, what the rent's going to be compared to what they have now, I mean, this stock is in for one hell of a haircut if that's what it turns out. But it's been in a trading range from 60 to 65. Trading up here, it holds 65. You could call this a little breakout, but look at it from that perspective. Major support is 65, trying to break, or major support at 60, trying to break out. Just the change in rent. Oh, we got over 67 here, folks. So there's a target, but fundamentally just does not make any sense to me at all.
And then I'm seeing a few people ask about Workhorse. I know they're scheduled to report this morning. I don't see Workhorse.
Are they scheduled to report?
They're on my calendar. I don't see them out yet. So there's nothing on their site about it, and I don't see anything anywhere. So if Workhorse is out, if you see it, drop in the chat. I don't see Workhorse numbers out yet, so I don't.
It's not trading like it's out. I didn't know they were scheduled.
But people are asking about it here. I don't know. I mean, they're about to report earnings.
All this matters is going to be able to get the USPS contract, right?
That's it.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're waiting on that. So it's consolidation station. They don't get that, it's going to get slammed. They get that, and it's going to really rally. So, I mean, that's what matters to this stock going forward. It's a real company that's making vehicles, though. I mean, it isn't like the hope trade where, okay, well, we got a concept here. I mean, they're out there actually making trucks. So I could get talked back into this. Mitch, and I know you gave us this originally. You were talking about it, having some love here too, and maybe it gets a run up again. I don't know, on an earnings dip, it's tough. I sold my last stock at 22, so I could actually scalp and get back in here. It was on the day. You can see the day. It was a very high day. That was when I sold the last, but I sold a lot on the way up. Obviously, we bought at $3. We talked about this multiple times as it was going up, and I kept selling pieces, and then I was all out of 22. I kind of want to get back in on a piece, but I just don't know. Like every time it rallies, it seems to just sell back off. So the wild card is the USPS contract. So that's what's going to matter for the stock long term.
Yeah, quiet, trading up 32 cents here, matching range almost the last two sessions. I don't know if it was an inside day. Let me take a look here. Yeah, 1740, 1739. There were your two highs, your two lows, very close to each other, 1630 and 1636. So, and the close is pretty much in the same area too. So wait for the earnings on this one. Your major resistance, your major hurdle comes in at the 1950 area. That splits two highs from last week on Monday and Tuesday at 1944 and 1968.
All right, there's a lot of tickers in the chat. We will get to any tickers we don't get to this morning. We'll get to in the afternoon show. So tune in to our 3:40 p.m. Eastern time show on YouTube. We'll cover more of your tickers, I promise. Let's do Snapchat here, guys. That's a question from the Benzinga Pro Chat. Snapchat held on. There's some support there from last week.
Yeah, I can see, like, is it going to dip under 20 eventually to try to shake people out? It might.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You're on a pullback in a stock and a clear uptrend, so that's the good news. I don't know. It's not the one I like, though. I'm in Twitter. I wish I was still in Facebook. I like the Pinterest setup. I don't know why. I just don't think Snapchat's firing on all cylinders, even though I had a good quarter, which was expected. Anything social media right now, obviously, is been firing on all cylinders. I'm very torn on this one. I could get talked either way, so I'll say I'm on the fence. I don't know.
I would say if you want to buy it on strength, you need a little breakout here over $22.
Yeah, maybe a wait till it starts showing some life.
Yeah, because right here you're at 21.70, up 12 cents, kind of quiet. But those three highs are really sticking out to me. If you could clear that, you get some more upside here. And on the downside, that low from last week that was made on Monday, that was at 20.61. So not a bad risk reward ratio if you want to lean on it down to that level. That also was some lows just before its pre-earnings run was under $21 too. Ooh, actually 20.64 and 20.86. So that's a good support at just under 21 here in Snapchat.
And then
you know what I want to talk, and I
What?
see a couple tickers, is the banks. Wells Fargo, somebody was just asking about. The banks showed some major life on Friday. It was a nice, Wells Fargo had been on major support, $24, and then it took off. And it continues a little bit here this morning. The banks are all interesting. You look at Bank of America.
City 2.
Citi, JP Morgan. Citi on the major support at 50 and starts to show life. It's a nice candle. I kind of like the banks here. If you like the reopening trade, the banks benefit big time from the reopening. There is no doubt. Obviously the technology has run this market here for 3 months, but maybe it's time for that trade to cool.
Little rotation.
Yeah, and we saw it last week. We saw IWM outperforming the Qs for the first time in a long time. And, we kept questioning, is it going to be a day or two like it always is, and the money just rotate back into tech? I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit different out there. Like, even when I go out, people aren't as scared anymore. So you might see, the reopening trade start to show life here again too. If you're too scared to jump into the airlines and the cruise lines, maybe you jump into the banks because they're going to benefit from the reopening too. And you look at a JP Morgan, $100, and you think, man, from a valuation perspective, it's still very attractive. It's got a nice 3.59% dividend. It's best of breed. It was $140 when this party started, and it's $100 here now. I mean, the banks have not performed that well, but JP Morgan's been a great one. Do I want to jump into a Wells Fargo? They got more trouble. I maybe would rather own a JP Morgan than a Wells Fargo because the banks are going to go up. I mean, Wells Fargo will go up more because Wells Fargo has just been slammed. So it, could potentially go up more too, but there's also a lot more risk in a Wells Fargo. So, but you know what, if you're buying the banks here, I kind of like it.
Trading range here. And you can tell, like the institutions, you can tell where the big boys are at in this thing. They're in the lower 90 handle. This was coming back after it came. Maybe I think it was earnings or just the rally in June. It got a little excessive, but they were stepping up in the lower 90 handle, and now they're stepping up to 95, trying to sneak its head over 100. We're trading at 117. That's up today. And where's that double? Oh, I'll give you a big area on the upside here. 101.22, 101.29, back-to-back highs, July 15th, July 16th. So trading range, you're trying to break out of the topping trading range. That's what you need here. And I don't know about today, but looks like it's making a run at it.
I mean, look no further than the TLT, and the TLT has been straight up since June. It's not a coincidence that banks have basically been straight down since June, but the TLT has finally started to stall, and it wasn't a pretty candle for it yesterday. And I'd be a seller of the TLT, and if I'm a seller of the TLT, I'm a buyer of the banks, because that is obviously inversely correlated due to interest rates. So, that TLT chart looks a little toppy to me. It's had a nice run, and it's, also a fear gauge too, because people jump in, obviously, into the bonds when, they think times are going to be tough again. You can see, back when we thought, the reopening is going really well, they started to slam the TLT until it reversed the same day that the market, obviously reversed as well, at least the reopening stocks. So I'd be a seller of the TLT, and I kind of like the banks.
All right, Workhorse was just out at 9. For those of you watching, I just did a Control F in the PR for Postal Service. 0 results, so they didn't even mention that in their press release. So no update there, I'm to assume. But Workhorse's numbers were out a couple minutes ago. And I don't know if the stock is traded at all.
Not moving much here.
Okay.
Kind of quiet still within that. We'll see if it can break out of that 2-day range.
Yeah. As long as it stays above 13.38.6, which is the low of the move back on July 20th, it's still interesting. You start breaking down below that, but again, the technicals aren't going to matter as much because we got pending news happening. Yeah. That contract is going to make the stock potentially double or make the stock fall by 50%. It could do, it literally can do that. So, I mean, that's what matters. So until we know, like technicals, in the longer term aren't going to matter on this. It's all going to be about that fundamental information that's coming on whether they get that contract or not.
All right, I've got a list of over 20 stocks from the chat. We'll cover these stocks in our afternoon broadcast, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/Benzinga TV, same location as this stream. So tune in there. Thanks to our guest today, Jeremy Newsome. Thanks to all of you in our chats. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate that. Please remember, all the information from our broadcast is meant to be used as informational purposes and not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your Monday. Joel and I will be back with you in the afternoon.